Hi everyone, this is Preeti Pandey. Welcomes you to my channel, Miss Me to Chemistry. So far we have discussed formation of very large number of carbon compounds. Okay, we are what chapter we are studying? We are studying carbon and its compound. So we are going to do this slide. That is point number 5. What we have discussed till now. Let's take a look electron dot structure. Let's take a look from the very beginning. Okay, we are doing carbon and its compound. So far we have done occurrence of carbon, bonding in carbon covalent compounds. As far we know that bonding in covalent compound takes place through sharing. Okay, we know that in carbon it takes place through sharing, and sharing what type of bond is formed, that is called covalent bond. Fine. Now we have discussed formation of covalent bonds, and also this slide we have discussed how the molecules are formed. We have taken a lot of examples like how O2 is formed, how N2 is formed. See, we have discussed all these examples, and also how hydrogen is formed, how fluorine is formed, how carbon dioxide is formed. Like we have also discussed how carbon dioxide, how CF4, how CH4, methane, this is very important. Okay, this is very important. CH4, how CH4 molecule is formed. Now we are going to discuss formation of very large number of carbon compounds. So let's students now gather and study. Okay, now read the point 5, formation of very large number of carbon compounds. See, as we see in chemistry, that chemistry, most of the compounds we see revolves around carbon. We see in whole chemistry, we find out that carbon is the most important element, and when we will study in higher classes like in class 11 or 12th itself, or if you do not take 11th or 12th, you take only 10th standard which you are studying, you'll see that most of the compounds in chemistry are made up of carbon. If you see around yourself, like in your table, if you are studying the table, then the table is made up of wood, and wood is also formed of carbon. There is a percentage of carbon in the wood also. You are keeping a laptop, since as you are studying from laptop, so laptop now today's laptops are made up of metals, but as we know that carbon is a non-metal. Okay, carbon is a non-metal, and nowadays the body of laptop is generally made from metal. It can be tin, huh? Okay, it can be tin, it can be anything they use, but for an example they are using tin. Sorry, they are using tin nowadays for making laptops. I am not sure about that, but taking as an example. Okay, and what else you find in your study table, that you are keeping a water bottle. Okay, water bottle is a plastic. As we know, water bottle is a plastic, and plastic. What plastic is made up of? It is made up of ethene molecule. What is ethene molecule? Ethene molecule is CH2, double bond CH2. See here also carbon is present. So when you will look around yourself, then you will find a lot of molecules, a lot of compounds, sorry, a lot of compounds, a lot of substances which are made up of carbon. So these carbon should have some special kind of nature or is special property that differentiates this carbon from the rest of the metal. Okay, so it has a property of catenation. It has a property of catenation that helps the carbon to form a long chain, that helps the carbon to form a branch chain, that helps the carbon to form a close ring chain. Now study from the very beginning in this slide. Carbon forms a very large number of compounds. As I have discussed that when we look around ourselves, we found a lot of a lot of substances or compounds that is made up of carbon. Okay, so the number of carbon compounds is more than 3 million. See, The number is very large. The number is very large. 3 million compounds that has carbon in it. Okay, it is more than the number of compounds formed by other elements. See, here also it is telling, this line is proving itself, it is giving a verdict that the percentage of the number of compounds, that the number of compounds formed by other elements are are more, that is made up of carbon. So this is because there is a reason. Why? There is a reason. There are two reasons given. Read them. First, read this reason. First reason: carbon atom can form bonds with other atoms, other carbon atoms, to form large chain or long chain. Long chain, branched chain, closed ring. This property is called catenation. See, a carbon is able to form a long chain is due to a property that is called catenation. Carbon is able to form branch chain is due to a property that is catenation. Catenation is responsible for the carbon long chain, branch chain and closed ring type structure. Okay. Now read the second point. Since the valency of carbon is 4, as we know that carbon atomic number is 6, so its electronic configuration is 2, 4. As we know, how we can say that the valency of carbon is 4, the number of electrons present in the outermost shell is called its valence electron, and also here in this case it is the valency of carbon. Fine. It can form bonds with other carbon atoms or with atoms of other elements like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, halogens. Carbon can combine with itself. Carbon can combine with hydrogen. Carbon can combine with nitrogen. Carbon can combine with halogens. Here I am denoting halogen family through X. Fine. Halogen atoms are found where? Halogen elements are found where? In group 17. See group 17 in the periodic table. You will find there all the halogen atoms are present. Example of halogen atom is fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. These four are the halogen atoms. Now jump to another slide. Here read the sixth point. Read the sixth point. Hydrocarbons, saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons. So now we are going to study about saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons. See, students really get confused in higher classes also, that what is saturated hydrocarbon, what is unsaturated hydrocarbon. Here I am explaining you in a very simple terms. If you get the meaning of saturated and unsaturated, then you can simply tell what is saturated compound and what is unsaturated compound. Got it? See, I am telling you what is the meaning of saturated compounds. What is saturated hydrocarbon? See, first I am going to tell you what is hydrocarbon. Hydrocarbon is a compound made up of hydrogen and carbon. Simply, a compound is made up of hydrogen and carbon is called hydrocarbon. You have also studied this statement in 9th class. Okay, 9th standard you have studied this statement. Fine. And also in 11th class you will study whole chapter about hydrocarbon. Whole chapter is all about hydrocarbon. Okay. Now, what is saturated? If somebody asks you, if I ask you, beta, what is saturated? How do you define saturation? I'll tell you this in very simple words, that you take a bowl and add water in it. Take a bowl, add a water in it. Now start adding sugar. Now start adding sugar. Now stir this sugar. Now stir this sugar. Okay. When you stir the sugar, first when you are just pouring one scoop to this water, then it will be very easy for the sugar to get dissolved in this water, in this bowl. Okay, now you are adding another scoop. Now you are adding another scoop. You have to dissolve sugar until when it gets completely dissolved. Until it gets completely dissolved. And then there comes a situation. There comes a situation when You cannot dissolve, no, you cannot dissolve any more sugar in this bowl. That point is called saturation. That point is called saturation. Now I'm going to give you, see, now I'm going to give you a very realistic example. As you are studying, see, you are studying and you are studying for, you know that highest concentration of someone is 40 minutes. And it is the study, research shows that a student can only study with full concentration for 40 minutes. For 40 minutes you can study with full concentration. After that, you will not feel, you will not get the topic very clearly. You have to take for 10 minutes rest and you can get back to the topic. Okay, after 40 minutes you feel some kind of saturation. That is called saturation. Got it? I'm telling you in Hindi also. What is saturation? See, तुमने एक बाउल ले लिया, उस बाउल में तुम शक्कर को घोल रहे हो और तुमने शक्कर को घोला घोला घोला, एक पॉइंट ऐसा आएगा जब उसमें तुम बिल्कुल भी शक्कर डिजोल्व नहीं कर सकते, तो उस पॉइंट को हम सैचुरेशन कहेंगे। और क्या कर सकते हैं, अगर हम इतना हम डिजोल्व कर लिए, उसके बाद हम क्या करते हैं, उसको बर्नर में रख देते हैं, मतलब गैस में रख दो, स्टोव में रख दो। उसको हमने क्या किया, स्टोव में रख दिया। स्टोव में रखने के बाद और उसमें शक्कर डाला, उस बाउल में और शक्कर डाला, हमने 2 किलो शक्कर और डाल दिया उस बाउल में। तो पहले तो शक्कर घुल जाएगी, 1 किलो मान लो शक्कर घुल गई, बाकी का फिर शक्कर घुलना बंद हो जाएगा। जब शक्कर घुलना बंद हो जाए तो उस पॉइंट को कहते हैं हम सैचुरेशन। नाउ यू टेक दिस पॉइंट ऑल्सो इन केमिस्ट्री, व्हाट इज सैचुरेटेड हाइड्रोकार्बन। सी, अ कार्बन हैज valency of 4, it can only combine with maximum 4 hydrogens. See, maximum 4 hydrogens it can combine, because it has only 4 electrons. Because it has only 4 electrons, so it can combine maximum 4 hydrogen to itself. Okay, so now the carbon gets saturated. So this is called saturated compound. Got it? Now, fine. If you are not understanding, I am giving you the another example, that is ethane. Talk about ethane. Carbon has 4 valency. Okay. Now we have to make ethane. One carbon, one carbon. We know the formula of ethane is C2H6. Fine. Now carbon has 4 valency. Carbon has 4 valency. And carbon also needs only 4 electrons. Carbon, to get a stable configuration, it only needs 4 electrons. Fine. So it can only attach to 4, it can only, one carbon only attach to 3 hydrogens here, and 1 electron is shared between both the carbons. This electron is shared with this carbon and this electron is shared with this carbon. Now this carbon also, mark it as C1, mark it as C2. This carbon can also combine only 3 hydrogens. This carbon also combine only 3 hydrogens. So what, see, this carbon got unsaturated. It cannot combine, it cannot take more than 3 hydrogens. It simply cannot take more than 3 hydrogens because its valency is 4. It has gained 1 electron from this carbon. Now it only needs 3 electrons. So this carbon asked only 3 hydrogen to share its electron with him. Okay, got it? So this is called saturated hydrocarbon. What is unsaturated hydrocarbon? Now, what is unsaturated hydrocarbon? Unsaturated hydrocarbons are hydrocarbons having a double or a triple covalent bond between two carbon atoms. Example, alkenes and alkynes. Alkene and alkynes, what alkene and alkynes are, first understand what alkene and alkynes are, then I am going to tell you what is unsaturated hydrocarbon. As I have told you, saturated is the saturated. What is saturated? Saturated is the condition when you cannot add more than that, when you cannot add more than a single point what it needs. Like carbon needs only 4 electrons, so you can only give this carbon 4 electrons, so it gets from hydrogen. So we add 4 hydrogen to this carbon. Fine.